I'm not sure what just happened at the end of that video, so I'll just pick up where we left off. So we typed in, or we plugged in our 15, because that's how many years we're going to sell it after. So then we go to Desmos, and we type in our 90,000, 1.03 to the power of 15. And how much I try and sell it for, we're talking about money. So once again, you can have decimal places. So when you sell your house, no, you don't usually deal with cents or anything, but because we can, we will use that. So 2 decimal places, but this 7 right here says that this should jump up. Let me fix, that should be a 0 and it looks kind of like a 6. So how much did I sell my house for after 15 years? $140,217.07 is how much I should sell it for after 15 years. All right, once again, pause the video so that you can get this copied down. Don't need this space here. Leave a gap, leave a gap. The number of pigs on a farm has increased by 14% each year. In 2020, there were 352 pigs. The first part we want to do is write our function p of x that represents the situation. So we want to make sure we know what a and we know what r are. And we want to know if it is a plus or a minus, a growth or a decay. So the number of pigs on a farm has increased. Right there, it tells us increase, which means this is growth. So it is going to be 1 plus the rate by 14%, which is your rate, but turn that to a decimal, which is 0.14. Then it says in 2020 there are 352 pigs, which is your starting amount. So we want to use p of x instead of y. A is your starting amount, which is 352. We need to figure out 1 plus r or 1 minus r. In our case, it was 1 plus r. And r for us is 0.14. So that gives us 1.14 to the power of x. And this time we do use x because there's an x right here. So here's our function, p of x equals 352, and in parentheses 1.14, all to the power of x. Calculate p of -5. So we're going to plug in -5 into our x value or x place. And then go to Desmos. We got 352 times 1.14 to the power of -5. Which is 183. This 8 makes that round up to a 3. So there's our calculation for p of -5. Now it says to interpret p of -5. I'm going to take you back up here where we interpreted the other problem. F of 4 said after 4 years. And then this represents the computer cost. So after 4 years, that's how much it costs. So now when we're interpreting, we've got p of -5. So -5, what does that mean in terms of our time? Well, -5 means 5 years ago. So we wouldn't say after 5 years, we would say 5 years ago. Let me move this over. Which it told us in the problem that in 2020, there were 352 pigs. So instead of just saying 5 years ago, you want to add that it was in 2015. Because we knew that right now it's 2020, 5 years ago it's 2015. So 5 years ago in 2015, there were 183 what? What are we talking about in this problem? We're talking about the number of pigs on a farm. So 5 years ago in 2015, there were 183 pigs on the farm. That's your interpretation. The -5 tells you it's 5 years ago. If it was +5, you would say in 5 years or after 5 years. But negative tells you it was in the past. And then your answer tells you in this problem is how many pigs we had. All right, this is something you're going to see a question sort of like this on the IXL, or could see something like this. So once again, get this copied down. You need this blank here and you need this blank here, but you don't need a gap here. So we've got the number of tigers in the world has been decreasing by 20% each year. There are currently 4,000 tigers. If this continues, how many tigers will there be in 6 years? Okay, so the first thing you should still be doing is writing yourself your equation. So it says it has been decreasing, which means this is a decay. So we know we're going to do 1 minus r. Here is r, 20%, which is then 0.2 or 0.20 if you would prefer to write it that way to help you. And there are currently 4,000 tigers, which is A. So we want to fill this in first, and then we use that equation. So we know that A is 4,000. And then for 1 plus r or 1 minus r, it says we are decaying, so 1 minus r, and r is 0.2, so we have 1 minus 0.2, which if you need your calculator or Desmos, do so. That gives you 0.8. So 0.8 goes inside your parentheses, power of x. And then it says, if this continues, how many will there be in 6 years? So what number should you plug in for x? You should plug in 6. And then go to Desmos. We've got 4,000 times 0.8 in parentheses to the power of 6, which gives us 1,049, because this 5 right here makes this 8 round up, tigers. Don't forget your label. Can't just leave it as 1,049, because 1,049 what? 1,049 tigers. The next question says, what is the difference between the number of tigers currently and the number of, this should say tigers, and the number of tigers in 6 years? So what is the difference? Mathematically, what does the difference mean? It means to subtract. So we take how many are there currently minus how many will there be in 6 years. So we take 4,000 minus our 1,049 and get 2,951 tigers. Okay, another question you are definitely going to see on the IXL. You open a bank account with $500. The account gets a 3.5% annual interest rate. How much interest to the nearest cent will you have gained in 10 years? Okay, so starting with our equation. We open a bank account with $500. Here is our rate, but remember, turn that to a decimal, which is 0.035. Now, to know if this is growth or decay, well, let's think about the situation. You open a bank account and it gets interest. Over time, is your bank, if you don't add any money or take any money out on your own, you don't spend any of that money, just let it sit. This interest, does that mean your money is going to go up, or is your money going to go down? If you put your money in a bank account, over time, do you end up getting money or do they take money away from you? This interest means you get money. So this is a growth. Anytime you are dealing with getting interest, it is money growing. So our equation would be y equals 500, 1 plus our rate is 1.035, goes in your parentheses, to the power of x. Now it says how much interest will you have gained in 10 years? So we're going to do 500 times 1.035 to the power of 10. 500 times 1.035 to the power of 10. And it does say we're going to round things to the nearest cent. So 705, and we're going to round that to 30 cents. Okay. But this does not answer the question. The question says, how much interest will you have gained? This is not the amount of interest you have gained. This is your starting and the interest. So your interest is your start minus your 10 years. That'll tell you how much interest you got. So you're going to take your 500. Oops, we should have these backwards, because otherwise you're going to have negative. That doesn't make sense. So it should be 10 years minus the start. You just change that. Your interest is how much you have after 10 years minus your start. So we're going to take our $705.30 and subtract how much we put in, and we're going to get $205.30. That is how much interest you got. That's your free money right there. You put $500 in the bank, you ended up gaining $205.30 after 10 years. Okay, 2 more questions to work with. Dr. McKenzie is studying an endangered fox whose population is declining by 15% every 6 months. If there are currently 9,046 foxes, how many will remain in 2 years? So we need our start, we need our rate, and we need to know if it is growth or decay. There's your start, 9,046 foxes. There's your rate, but as a decimal is 0.15. So that is a declining, that is a decay, which is 1 minus the rate. So your equation is going to say y equals, your start is 9,046. We need to take 1 minus your rate. If you need a calculator, do so. That is 0.85. That's the number that goes in your parentheses. So we took 1 minus our rate because we are decaying. Our rate was 15%, which is 0.15. 1 minus 0.15 is 0.85 to the power of x. Okay. Now the question says, if there are currently 9,046 foxes, how many will remain in 2 years? Okay, you might think, let's just plug a 2 in. That would be great if this problem says that they are declining by 15% every year, but it is not. It says every 6 months. So you can't plug 2 in because 6 months happens not twice in 2 years. So you need to figure out how many times does 6 months occur in 2 years? How many sets of 6 months are there in 2 years? Well, there's a couple of ways to go about it. Either a little bit of common sense, or you go through the route of how many months are in a year. There are 12. So that means there are 2 6 months in a year, and if there are two 6